Tres Marias. That's what my father affectionately calls me and my sisters after my mom, Maria. There are 5 of us in the family. Catherine was born in 1997 in Canada when I was 13 years old. Charisse and I were born in the Philippines. For a while, there were just 3 of us in the family: my dad, me, and Charisse. Growing up, my mom was far, far away. You see, in 1985, my mom ventured on her own to Norway before migrating to Canada, working as a domestic worker. I was only 2 years old and Charisse was 11 months. That was 2 decades ago, yet Nancy Quignon shares a similar story now. In 2000, Nancy was forced to leave for abroad, leaving her 3 young children: Horace, who was 9 years old, John, who was only 6, and her baby girl, Trini Ann, only 2 years old. Through tears and sweat, both mothers willingly endure the long separation from us, their children, to give us better opportunities in life. This is the story of a Filipino nanny. An estimated 8 million Filipinos have been forced to work abroad because of poverty and lack of sustainable jobs.
Philippines has no industries of its own, so it can't support this huge pool of labor.
The Philippines' major export is human labor, stripping Filipino children from their own mothers.
It's really hard for me to accept that I left them alone just to look for a better income to support them.
In Canada, the majority of Filipino women enter through the Living Caregiver Program, also known as LCP. Most women are live-in domestic workers for affluent Canadian families. What does a nanny do for the children they care for?
You need to feed them, you need to wash their clothes, and you need to take them to the school.
Taking care of the children is not the only task the caregiver has. Cleaning, cooking, and washing clothes take up a good chunk of their time at work. Life is not easy. Caregivers have to complete 24 months of domestic work within 3 years before they can apply to be immigrant and receive full Canadian benefits. Is this cheap labor?
If it were a Canadian worker doing the caregiving job, then that worker would be entitled to all the benefits.
Being a nanny is the only job in Canada that requires them to live with their boss.
Living in an employer's home, because it's a private home, first, it's not regulated, so there's no one to oversee or ensure that whatever stated in the contract is what's being done in the home.
Many caregivers are professionals back home, but they swallow their pride to earn money to support their families.
Going abroad is not heaven, actually. It is hard work, determination, and a great sacrifice.
That sacrifice for mothers is being away from their own children. The Filipino word nanay sounds so much like nanny that it's easy to assume they mean the same thing. Close, but not quite.
A nanay would be the Tagalog equivalent of mother or mommy even.
The first family that I worked with was a Jewish family. Marlene Kamen and Joel Kamen. Marlene had 2 children. One girl, which is 3.5, and a baby boy, which is less than 1 year old.
With Filipino women who are working as nannies, I think it's also a way of, a lot of them leave their children in the Philippines, and when they take care of the children of their employers here, I think whatever affection that they would like to show their children, because they're far away, that's how they just pour all of that affection into the children that they're taking care of.
When I see the kids, I said, oh, maybe my kid is also growing like this. She's always running around and calling me, Mommy, Mommy.
The other side of it is sometimes the relationship between the caregiver and her own children is compromised because of the distance mainly.
In March 1990, Maria went back home for the first time since leaving, staying only for 2 weeks. This was the first time Charisse met her mother.
It took like 5 years, so I was like 5.5.
She was running to my mother, not to me, at the door. I remember that.
It's been 9 years since Nancy was together with her children. She is sad she cannot witness her children's rites of passage, especially with her daughter Trini-Ann, who needed her the most as she enters womanhood.
She was scared. She knows nothing about this, what happened to her. So I was sad because I was not there to help her to explain why.
It's Friday night. Nancy heads home for the weekend to her apartment that she shares with 7 women. It's a 2.5-hour travel from Unionville to Toronto. She hurries to talk to John and Trini-Ann via webcam. It's 10:15 p.m. here and it's 10:15 a.m. Saturday morning in the Philippines. Nancy's face lights up upon seeing her children. Trini-Ann longs for her mom.
Tiyan ka lagi, be? Nagibi mga nanay na. Nagibi mga lang nanay. Ano? Ha? Naidlaw ka na Trini-Ann? Dali lang, mga isa pa ka tuig. 1 year more to go. Diyan kay Trini-Ann, Miss Kila, ya. Ha? Ano? Halatan mo? Ano? Halatan mo? Ah.
The best Christmas I had was the December 24, 1991. That's the time they arrived in Canada.
After 6 years, my family was reunited. I was 8. Families still face challenges during reunion because over the years, mothers and children become strangers. There is an adjustment period. But the most important thing of all is that families are together. Nancy trudges along on a road most traveled by many Filipino mothers. In her children's eyes, she is a hero. Because of the discrimination many nannies experience, is their work valued in the Canadian society?
We are the ones you would trust your children with. Why would you look so lowly upon a caregiver when if you trust them with the life of your child, then why would you have such a low regard for them? Because the work they're doing is valuable. And that's what I would say to anyone who questions the value of the work of a caregiver.
In about a year, Nancy will be with her children. As a mother, Nancy wants to see a society where parents do not have to choose between the relationship with her children and the future of her children.
I'm dreaming of a society where there's no family apart, just to earn money to support them. So my dream is to be with my family again in the future.